What's up, potheads and political junkies? You're watching Cannabis Culture News Live. I'm Jeremiah Vandermeer, editor of Cannabis Culture Magazine, here on Friday, every Friday for you at 4 p.m. Pacific time with the latest news on the cannabis community. What's up, guys? It is Friday, March 8th today, and we're doing a big event show today. Going to go over some of the upcoming marijuana events that are happening in 2013. We're going to go over 420. We're going to go over the Global Marijuana March. We're going to go over the Hemp Fest that happened across North America. We're going to go over some of the large expos that happen in Canada, here and in the U.S. And we will be talking to Marco Renda. He's the founder of the Treating Yourself Expo in Toronto, which is the largest expo that we have on marijuana here in Canada. He's also the founder of Treating Yourself Magazine, which is a medical marijuana magazine published here in Canada, and Glass Culture Magazine. So we'll be talking about all of that stuff. Also in studio today, Medmark, the weed guy, who was here last week. He's back in studio again. He's going to be running the medical expo that's happening here in Vancouver, the cannabis-related medical expo, the P&E, that's coming up for the first time this year, and also the Kush Cup. So he'll be here talking to us directly when he shows up. He's bringing with him, I think, the urban grower, Remo, so he should be down here too. I know everybody loves Remo. We're definitely going to be getting super high. Also, if anybody out there has problems with the sound on any of this stuff, we're all hooked up through the board. You guys let us know. Mr. Marius is running the boards over there, and it should all be good. If you guys got a problem, let us know. Before we get into any of that stuff, I'm going to play a video or two for you guys, and even before the videos, I wanted to show off a couple magazines I have here sitting in front of me. These are both Canadian magazines. One's called Canadian Business Magazine, Marijuana Incorporated, How Big Business Will Make Billions on the Legalization of Pot. That's the cover. The other one here is the Walrus Magazine, and the Walrus is another Canadian magazine. It's like Harper's Magazine in the U.S., and it's got a legal weed planting the seeds of corporate marijuana story on the cover. That shows a nice water cooler with a marijuana plant growing next to it. So there's a lot of talk of the big business side of the cannabis industry nowadays because Colorado and Washington have legalized and are both looking at a distribution model. So in Canada, I think a lot of the people here are going to be getting jealous. The local governments, provincial governments, or other people who see dollar signs in their eyes, eventually they're going to realize when the spreadsheets come in from Washington and Colorado with all those numbers on them, with all those zeros, they're going to want some of that too. So, and the last couple nights, actually, I've been at a few different events. I was at a North Vancouver City Council meeting last night with the people from Stop the Violence here in British Columbia. They were talking about the economy there. They had an economist on the panel. And also, Dana Larson's been hosting Sensible BC events here in the city. They've been talking about the economic benefits of legalizing pot, and they're just gigantic, just huge. Marius is doing a little camera movement there. What's going on, Marius?
Just moving it forward just a touch.
Yeah, it doesn't look too bad. I hope you guys like the new set and stuff. We're here in the lounge. We got the loungers chilling with us. Yeah, all right, yeah. BC MP Vapor Lounge, 307 West Hastings here in Vancouver. If you're in the neighborhood, please come on down and get high with us. You can come sit on the couch and hit Duchess with me here. And I'm going to hit Duchess right now, actually. She's fully loaded. My friend Tyler loaded me up here. Take a puff. Hi, Duchess.
You need some assistance?
I think I got it covered. Hitting the bomb. All right. There's going to be a lot more of that on the show today. And of course, as anybody who watches the show knows, when the weed guy, Medmark, shows up, all hell breaks loose. I get probably too high for my own good. I usually end up eating, like last show, I ate a bag of popcorn infused. By the end of the show, I think we did an extra hour because I couldn't figure out how to turn the show off. Actually, that show got us a little bit in trouble with our friends at Vapor Central for going too long. And I guess this is something, since I mentioned Vapor Central, this is something that I probably should bring up on the show today. Vapor Central hasn't been on the Pot TV stream, if you've noticed lately. For the past couple years, we've been working in coordination with Vapor Central to play their comedy nights on Pot TV, something that we've been doing on a nightly basis. They have a ton of great programming coming from Vapor Central. Unfortunately, we've decided, and maybe it's for the best, and maybe it's not unfortunately, But the circumstances were a little unfortunate. We've decided to part ways with Vapor Central and not play the comedy nights on Pot TV. It was largely their decision at first. They didn't really like that we were preempting the comedy nights for some of the events we had here in Vancouver with Sensible BC and other things. That was kind of an inconvenience for them. And they didn't really like that we were preempting them and all, and kind of gave me the ultimatum and said if we were going to preempt them, that they just didn't want to be on the network at all. So, but at the very same time that was all happening, unfortunately last week Matt Murnaugh broadcast clips of hardcore porn on the Murnawana show, literally hardcore fucking porn, and you know, flashing breasts and things. That's one thing, but when you're playing clips of hardcore porn, it's just not a good thing. And unfortunately, I had asked them not to do that. They did it, or I asked them to take any clips that would get us banned from live stream out of the live stream feed. Those didn't get taken out, so we had some problems. There's been issues. But anyways, hopefully we'll still continue to work in coordination with Vapor Central on lots of different projects. And I'm sure that you'll be seeing their stuff on Vapor or on Pot TV, at least events that they have in the city and stuff like that sometime soon. So love you, Vapor Central. And I'm sure we'll work out any problems we do have eventually. We do love all their content, by the way. Vapor Central and Chris Goodwin in particular worked very hard on Pot TV for the past little while, and you guys can still find the comedy nights and stuff they're doing at livestream.com/vaporcentral. So there you are. Okay, so I also wanted to talk about what's going on down in the U.S. right now with Washington and Colorado. In the past week, 8 former DEA heads have come forward encouraging Obama to shut Washington and Colorado down before they even get started. They really are upset about the legalization drive. We also have the UN, or at least a drug body at the UN, coming forward and telling Obama that it breaks international treaties for Washington and Colorado to do what they're doing. So I wanted to play a little video here from CNN. Marius, I don't know if you can load that up. This is a CNN clip talking about the 8 former heads of the DEA who have come forward.
I'm pretty sure I can.
Yeah. Marius is working on it right now. And while the video's playing, I'm going to load up another bong rip here. Oh, we have Mr. DML in the house. And when we get back, David Malmo-Levine, super activist, on the program to talk about marijuana events in 2013. Right, David?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah. All right, Marius, how's that going? We're done? Marius is stoned. The couch, though. Yeah, that's a little bit better. And I'm going to load another bong rip. I need some weed here, though. What happened to my grinder? Actually, so David, nice to see you, my friend. And you can put this down here. It might be a little easier.
Hello, Pot TV viewers.
Hello, David.
Hello, Jer.
So David, I wanted to have you on today because we have all kinds of pot events coming up. This is 2013. We're just getting started here. There hasn't been a lot so far in the beginning of the year, but things really get launching about in the next couple months here. We have 420. We have the expos that happen across Canada. We have the Kush Cup and those kinds of things happening. We have Hemp Fest happening across North America. And of course, there's expos in the United States, a whole ton of them as well. We have the Global Marijuana March. And is that all of them? What else we got?
Cannabis Day.
Of course, we can't forget Cannabis Day on July 1st.
And if the year starts with a 1 or a 6, we will also have the Grasstown anniversary party, but it's not this year.
Right, okay. So, David, I guess we should just maybe get into the one that's coming up first. And is that...
420.
Right, 420 is here. Now, we have talked a little bit on the show before about the history of 420. I think I may have even had you on to talk about the history of 420.
I buy a dime bag. I buy a dime bag and I sell it for 20. 420.
Marius, what's going on there?
Well, it won't give me speaker out unless something plugged into the speaker.
Testes. Testes. 1, 2, 3.
Okay, but our sound is okay here? They're saying that the sound was coming in and out. Was that you fiddling with things, or how's David? Can you mic up?
Testes,
can you listen
testes.
to hear how David sounds?
1, 2, 1, 2, 3.
All right.
3 testes. I got 3 testes.
Can you hear on the headphones though? Do a test. Okay.
All right.
Well, if you can't hear
If you
David,
can't hear
let
me
us know.
out there in Pot
Okay.
TV
So
Ville,
420 though, David.
let us know.
History, there's debates around exactly how 420 got started or how the concept of the
Nah, I think
number
the debate,
420.
the debate is over.
The debate is
Huffington
over.
Post actually did an in-depth interview with the Waldos.
That's right.
And their whole shtick was
Explain who they are first.
The Waldos were a bunch of high school students from San Rafael High School in California. And they were living near the coast, and their whole thing was to find the missing pot patch near, I think, the Coast Guard is where they thought they would look for it. And they were to meet every day after school at the Louis Pasteur statue at precisely 4:20. And later on, let's meet at the statue, smoke up, and look for the pot patch at 4:20 got shortened to just 420. Or 420 Louis, as in Louis Pasteur. And then it got shortened further to simply 420. Now, as luck would have it, San Rafael High School is located in the county in which the Grateful Dead spent a lot of their time. And a lot of these Waldos had connections, family members, and close connections to the Grateful Dead themselves. So their code for marijuana smoking and marijuana in general, 420, kind of wafted over to the Deadheads and was adopted by the Grateful Dead, who were then covered by High Times magazine, and that's how it spread to an international phenomena.
Aha.
There is no more debate. It's conclusive. That's how 420 began.
That's how the number 420 got associated with marijuana.
That is exactly how the number 420
Now,
got associated.
as an event, though, where we actually celebrate on 420 as a big event, tell us about that.
Well, I'm not so sure about the U.S. Event, but the Canadian event can be traced back to a couple of deadheads in Mark Emery's employ in, I believe, 1994, where they insisted that we have a 420 across the street in Victory Square Park, and Mark relented, and it turned out to be a really wonderful thing, and it just grew and grew and grew all on its own until the numbers for this unpromoted, unofficial event surpassed the numbers for our Cannabis Day event. And we realized, okay, somebody go out and lead the parade there. It looks like it needs some organization. Otherwise, no one was going to, it needed someone to clean up after it, basically. So that's where the organizers came in, was to make sure no one got hurt, make sure the place was left clean. And and then I added my hug power to it, which defended pot users and pot growers and pot dealers from arrest. And then the bud raffle started, and I believe 97 was probably the first year I had anything to do with it. And then it was at Grandview Park on Commercial Drive. And then it moved quickly, I think, to 98 or 99 to the art gallery. And the bud raffles turned into bud sales, cookie sales and brownie sales and bud sales. Someone I know walked around with a $5 joint sign, and that turned into a menu of all the different strains available in baggies, and then that turned into jars on the table with scales. And now it's like, it's silly. It's like, it's exactly like a cannabis farmer's market.
Right. And actually, for people who don't know, I mean, this is one of the only places on the planet that actually happens.
Yeah, I think
it's not like this is happening everywhere.
They're planning to do it also in Colorado now that they've legalized it, but we haven't legalized it here yet, and we've been doing it for well over 10 years. The way we do it is we just don't give a shit about getting arrested. And once you don't give a shit about getting arrested, you'd be surprised at what you can accomplish. If you make a speech at the beginning of your rally and you say, how many here are prepared to get arrested for pot smoking on a pot protest day, and you say hands up, and you'll see, if you have as hardcore group of people as in Vancouver, about half the hands will go up.
It's a 420 right now, actually.
It's
so happy
420 right now. Who has a joint?
Happy 420.
I need a stunt joint.
I had a.
Is there a stunt
jar
joint in the
of
house?
Marijuana.
Oh,
here.
hey, incoming.
Nice. And Tyler, will you pass me that laptop case? I believe my weed is in there. Not entirely sure, but.
It appears it's 420 on the Starship Enterprise too. Hey?
That's right.
Nice sound clip.
That's Marius's Klingons on the port.
Yes.
Port
Klingons are those little buds that stick to the big buds.
Was there a bong spill or something over here?
Bong spill.
Oh, it was just tea. It was a tea spill. It wasn't a bong.
It wasn't an H
The
or a
chat
C
was
spill.
wondering if it was a bong. DML is high on life.
So yes. So back to
Somebody's saying in the chat.
Oh yeah, and a little bit high on pot too. It doesn't take much these days.
Right.
So back to the speech. You make a speech at the beginning of your rally and you say, look, how many people are prepared to get arrested to resist a marijuana arrest during a pot protest day? And then, enough hands go up that it'll look like you'll give the police a hard time arresting anybody. And then you say, okay, you don't say an impolite word to the police, you don't touch the police, but you go up to the person getting arrested for a pot offense on a pot day and you don't let go. You hug them and you do not let go. And that causes a dilemma in the minds of the law enforcement officials, in that they have to decide whether to arrest you in front of all these witnesses, and a lot of phone cameras by now, but video cameras back in the 90s, and then go to court over it, and arguably they're interfering with your freedom of expression, or they let you go and do your thing. And 99 times out of 100, they'll let you go and do your thing.
And this is obviously a dangerous technique because there is a risk involved, and if you put yourself out there and you hug somebody who's being arrested, there is a likelihood that you will also be arrested. Now, the more of them there are, the more of you there are there's the less likelihood of you getting arrested, of course.
There is also, if you study the history of scapegoating and scapegoats, there's a history of not fighting back being more of a risk than fighting back. So you take risks if you stand up for yourself, and you take risks if you don't stand up for yourself, cross your fingers and hope someone else is going to save you. I'm so high.
Oh, here's an ashtray.
But what I suggest people do is look at the success versus failure rates of hug power and say, there is nothing more satisfying, and there's no greater high than getting unarrested or unarresting somebody else. I tell you, it's worth all the beatdowns. It's worth standing in front of a judge. Because you can look a judge in the eye and say, okay, one, I wasn't doing anything wrong, okay? I was trying to protect harmless people from being harmed by a horrible genocidal machine that's trying to destroy all semblance of medical autonomy in the human race, trying to stop people who are free from breeding so they don't have kids who are free. And I'm just trying to stop that and to preserve the intelligent preference for the most useful medicine and even preventive medicine on planet Earth. And you look the judge in the eye and say that, even if he disagrees with you about the safety and efficacy of cannabis, he'll realize you have sincerity in your voice, and this is a very hugely debated topic in the world, so how can he punish you that hard? And even if he does punish you that hard, life is short. Stand for something, or you'll fall for anything.
And David, you've actually said this to a few judges yourself.
I have been arrested, and I've been unarrested twice. I've unarrested a 16-year-old pot dealer on another occasion, and I have been arrested a couple of times attempting to do the hug power thing, so it hasn't always worked. One time out in Abbotsford, Tim Felger passed a joint to the police chief's daughter in front of the police chief, and I hugged him, not realizing he was trying to get arrested. The point of hug power is trying to stop getting arrested or stop someone else from getting arrested. It's not to get arrested.
Right.
So we had our communication cross. That's why it's so important to communicate with the organizers and communicate with the crowd before you attempt hug power.
Now, we also, at the Global Marijuana March here a couple of years ago, Stephen Pei got arrested. Remember that one?
No, he didn't.
Or he didn't get arrested because of hug power.
That's right. We prevented an arrest there as well.
We got that all on video.
And it's not just Vancouver. I've unarrested I've been unarrested in Edmonton before, so none of you have any excuses not to try this tactic. Edmonton cops are not known for their gentle nature, and you just have to decide whether it's better to be arrested out in the open, standing for something, doing something meaningful in a symbolic gesture that's video recorded, or get arrested one by one in the middle of the night while cowering under your sheets, wishing that you had taken a stand. Because their plan is to arrest us all, right? They want a drug-free society. They say it all the time. Even the Scientologists will block down the street are here to create a drug-free society. And by drug-free society, they mean a soft drug user-free society or a botanical drug-free society. But what you have to realize is the only way genocide is stopped is if people take risks and stand up and hug other people who are getting arrested and tell the cops to, please let go. You have no right to do this. This person isn't hurting anyone. Where's your justification? Keep saying it. It took 1,000 lectures to keep the cops off the pot block, but now they only come by once a year and they maybe steal someone's pot and smoke it later.
Right.
At worst.
Yeah, and they sometimes come in here and snoop around a little bit,
Yeah.
or take somebody's bag, but
Make sure there's no large-scale marijuana dealing going on here, and then they
Right.
leave.
and usually I think it's just to show off to the new cops on the block how cool it is in Vancouver. That's why they bring them down.
or they quota. Yes, we checked the block this year. We checked them, but it took 1,000 lectures to get to that point. And if you're not living in a place with a pot block, start giving the cops lectures starting right now or at 420, and get that dialogue going, and then shame them out of persecuting you. 'Cause that's what's happened here.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's true. So David, that's one. We talked about 420.
Yes.
We talked a little bit about Hug Power and how you can make some of these events for yourself go
Yes.
smoothly and successfully. Well, or at least get the cops off your ass.
Or start to get the cops off your ass. It took a while before they realized they were powerless in the face of our hugs and cameras.
But there's also, 420 is the first one, and shortly after that's the Global Marijuana March.
The first Saturday in May, folks, we take our cannabis farmers market and we mobilize it, and people sell joints and brownies along the sides of the march as the police give us an escort for our mobile pot dealing. It blows my mind every year.
Right, and this one is not just here in Vancouver, and we didn't say where 420 had spread to. 420 is now spread all over the place.
420 is everywhere. Global Marijuana March is everywhere. Cannabis Day is everywhere in Canada.
Yep.
There's always something happening.
And actually, this
something to
weekend-
poster for.
This weekend, there'll be an updated version of Chris Goodwin's 420 list, and this is a list of all the 420s that he can find across Canada, the world, whatever it is.
And there will be a sign up for free posters for 420. If you keep watching Pot TV and keep watching Cannabis Culture's homepage, we're going to publish a website where you can sign up for free posters in the next week, like within a week from now. And then we'll send the posters out to you with your local contact information printed on the poster, absolutely free. So if you can't afford to do a rally because you have no postering budget,
you got a postering budget
and that's thanks to Bob Erb, the lottery winner.
That's right, Marijuana Millionaire, who was on the show a few weeks ago.
It'll also send you buttons and other things to hand out at your rally. So stay tuned for that, Pot TV viewers and Cannabis Culture aficionados.
Right, and do we have the website address finally that we can, where it'll be? Is it going to be 420rally.ca or not?
I think it's 420rally.ca.
Okay, but watch Cannabis Culture.
Watch Cannabis Culture for details, and then I can get all the addresses at the same time. We can start organizing that poster mail out.
Excellent. So,
Yes.
of course, that was 420. So watch CC also for where all those 420s are going to be.
That's
now,
right.
the Global Marijuana March. We will also have an article on the front page of Cannabis Culture about where the Global Marijuana Marches will be happening.
Yes.
There's been 300 cities involved, I think, last year or the year before at least.
Yes.
In 26 different countries or something ridiculous like that.
That's right.
So the Global Marijuana March is also a big one. When did this one start, David?
Well, I remember seeing posters for the Million Man Marijuana March or the POW March, I think, in 1999. It originated in New York City, and it was a brainchild of Dana Beal, who is, I think, currently in jail for massive amounts of pot smuggling. Allegedly smuggling
allegedly,
pounds and pounds and pounds of it. That guy's a hardcore. Now, it seems to me, I just want to mention that a lot of the pot activism has been funded by pot dealers. For example, Tom Forsad is the original publisher of High Times.
Founder of High Times.
Pot smuggler. And Dennis Barone, before he became a medical marijuana dealer, he was a marijuana dealer. And others.
Right. Others.
So, and Dana Beal, it fits into that history of shit disturbers who fund their poop disruption with cannabis sales.
That's right.
So don't just buy your marijuana on the black market. Buy it on the green market. Buy from your local pot activist.
We have a question from
You
the
have
audience
a question
here.
from the audience?
I hear stories that marijuana, THC affects the brain in a way that's positive, like that keeps depression and certain ailments away.
Yeah. I've
Here, let's
looked.
repeat the question.
Okay, the question is cannabis or THC affect the brain in ways that keep away depression and other ailments and keep you healthy? Keep a healthy person healthy, basically? Well, I have collected all the evidence for cannabis being an antidepressant and a relaxant, and I put them up at stressedanddepressed.ca/DEV, and I think that there is more evidence for that being true than for any other effect of cannabis, and there's more evidence for that being true than for any other medicine known to humankind. Like a shit ton of medical pharmacopoeias and indexes and books that doctors use every day. I've been collecting those for the last 10 years, and I have a huge collection, like a bookshelf full of them. And again and again, they say for melancholy, for relaxation, to avoid stress and depression and fatigue and loss of appetite and lack of sleep and lack of motivation and lack of focus. All these things healthy people suffer from, and cannabis helps to alleviate. So it's a medicine for healthy people. It keeps healthy people healthy. I can't think of a more well-proven, evidence-full argument for anything, really. So yes, the short answer is yes.
And the long answer.
And the long answer, yeah. If you look at it in terms of recreation, recreation is not the opposite of medicine. It's a subsection of medicine. Like one of the R's in R&R is recreation, and they prescribe that to you, right? Mm-hmm. If you look up the word in the dictionary, Worldwide Webster Dictionary, the origin of the word recreation is to restore to health. And when a sick person passes a joint to a healthy person, it doesn't suddenly become non-medicinal in midair. It stays medicine.
Marijuana is a holistic medicine.
It's a preventive herbal medicine is what it is. So we've defined medicine for the longest time as something a white guy in a white lab coat hands you. And we have to expand our definition of medicine to be, I guess, what the Native North American Indians say medicine is, which is things that are good. Much, much broader definition.
Yeah.
But then you don't risk excluding something that may help you.
Right.
See what I'm saying? Yeah, so recreation is good medicine.
Stuff.
Yeah. And then now
cool.
we got to see medicine in the future as, herbal medicine, preventative medicine, and cover both those elements of medicine under healthcare so that we don't just have to choose between pills or nothing.
I know you can't OD on it, but I know if you sometimes smoke too much and you're too high.
Oh yeah.
Is that bad for you when you're super
Yeah. Well, you can puke and you can pass out. You can green out, as they say. Nobody's ever died of an overdose of marijuana. Not even hash smugglers who have had baggies of hashish burst in their bellies. They still haven't died from it. But you can abuse anything. You can die from an overdose of water. You can die from too much sugar. You can get diabetes and die from diabetes. You can die, like Casanova said, in wise hands poison is medicine, and in foolish hands medicine is poison. So you got to just use cannabis properly so you don't hurt yourself with it. Or you can, juggle chainsaws while you're too high and find out that impairment can sometimes be a bad thing. But if you're familiar with the activity and you're familiar with the dose, cannabis is actually a performance enhancer and actually doesn't interfere with performing anything so long as you're familiar with it and you enjoy doing it.
All right.
Well, yeah, but if pot wasn't around, they'd be super drunk all the time and wouldn't do shit, or super wired on caffeine.
The question was, are people who smoke pot demotivated?
Well, yeah, but it is a good, useful tool to distract yourself with, but so is masturbation or television or video games, right? You can lose yourself in anything enjoyable. But the problem is with the person deciding to lose themselves, not with the cannabis.
I smoke weed every morning when I get up, and I go straight to work, and I start working, and I'm solidly working, and I work very well on marijuana.
Yeah.
So I think it has to do with what your focus is on.
If you're focused or not.
Yeah, you got to focus yourself.
Yeah.
Well, that's an
true.
interesting fact.
You can get dependent on it to be to have your performance enhanced.
Not physically, but emotionally.
Emotionally and psychologically. Or, man, I play so much better hacky sack, or I ski better, or I play basketball better when I'm relaxed, hungry, and happy. I need some of that to keep, being the superstar athlete that I am, or whatever it is that you do.
I just want to say we were just joined in the room here by the Weed Guy and Urban Grower here, the Kush brothers. That's right. These guys bust their ass on weed.
I will just add.
It's a lot of work smoking that much weed.
Yeah, these guys are pros. I'm a lightweight. These are super heavyweights here. I will add that the danger with cannabis is that you smoke during high pleasure, low pressure activity, and you only smoke when you're doing things that are enjoyable. You might one day give up things that are not enjoyable just so that you can smoke more. So be careful.
Yeah.
That might happen. Oh no, I'm good at learning new things. As long as I want to learn and I enjoy learning those things. I've studied on pot for, the last 20 years, and most everything I've learned. Maybe. Or maybe I just found a subject that I really like. I like history, and I like pot, and I like drugs. So when I mix them all together.
Pot makes you want to focus on the things you like. If you're doing something that you really don't want to do, don't smoke pot, because you're going to end up doing the thing you like to do.
That's right. That's exactly right. Don't do the things you don't like to do while high.
Yeah.
Just do the things you do like to do.
David, I want to get back to the topic we were on here. We're talking about events and stuff. And now I do have to bring Marco Renda out here. We had an appointment to talk to Marco at about 4:30. We're already 7 minutes after that.
Yikes.
But David, will you come back and continue to talk to us after we do a couple more things? Are you going to be here for a little bit? Are you
sure,
planning on leaving?
I'll read these magazines.
You can read these, yes, Canadian magazines about the booming marijuana business while we get Marco on the line here. And David, what I'll do is, I'm in the interim. Will you be my last guest and come back after these guys go on?
What time would that be?
Like in less than an hour or something. We don't have to. The show can be as long as we want, really. We don't. There's nothing coming after us tonight or anything.
I sort of have some appointments I got to make, but maybe I can come back after.
What were you
Marco.
looking at there?
my imaginary watch tells me the imaginary time that I have to.
Right. Okay. Well, if we want you to come back, but I'll try and squeeze you in as quickly as possible.
Can I just be squozing in right after Marco for a couple minutes?
Sure, we can do that.
Awesome.
But we want to get these guys over here too. So,
and
the reason I want to bring these guys over because they were just at a Cannabis Expo, and we're going to be talking to Marco Renda about Cannabis Expos. We're going to be talking about the Treating Yourself Expo, which is the largest expo in Canada related to marijuana. Until possibly this new expo here in Vancouver, we don't know how big that one's going to be, but it's going to definitely be a contender.
Can I sit on the couch with them?
Absolutely.
Downwind of them?
Yes.
In between them?
There'll be a lot of
pass the
smoke.
joint back and forth?
Yeah, you got to be careful if you're trying not to get high. The contact high alone is going to be
I know. These guys...
It's like being in a bong. Being in the same room with these guys is like being inside of the bong.
Yeah.
Basically.
They're a walking hot box. Wherever they go, it becomes a hot box. All right, so Marco Renda.
The chat's asking about popcorn because on the show I virtually OD'd. You were talking about what happens when you take too much cannabis. On last week's show, we did a 3-hour show, and right as we started, I started eating an entire bag of popcorn, which is pot-infused caramel popcorn, and I was totally fucked by the end of the show. I couldn't really function. The show went an extra hour just because we didn't know what was going on, really, but...
There's been times that I've gotten super high, it's like I'm hallucinating, like someone's got like fucking thing
Sounds like fun. Anyways, okay, well, let's get Marco on the line here. And now we've got Marco directly patched in, line in. We should be able to hear him okay and everything. Hold on a sec here. I really should have Marius doing this. All right. And Marius, you're going to have to watch the levels on this one. I don't know how it's going to sound straight away. I should be able to hear him. I may turn this up just a tad.
Hello?
Marco.
Yes.
How you doing, Marco?
Pretty good, thanks. How yourself?
Not too bad. I'm just going to turn you up a little bit here. Marius, can you turn that up a bit? We just want to be able to hear you okay, Marco. You're in Toronto right now, are you?
Yep, I am.
Excellent. Hold on just a sec here. Okay, now I should be able to hear you a little better. Good to have you on the show again, Marco. This is you've been on the show a few times, actually. And I wanted to have you on today because I wanted to talk about the Treating Yourself Expo, which is coming up soon. We're doing an event show today. I also wanted to talk to you about your glass magazine, Glass Culture, which is a very cool magazine, and sort of what's going to be happening with all of your projects in the future. You, of course, are the publisher of Treating Yourself magazine, which is one of Canada's longest published medical marijuana magazines, if not the longest. And now you expanded that to the expo there in Toronto. So can you hear me okay?
Yeah, I can hear you perfectly fine.
Uh-oh. Is he there?
No, I'm here.
Can you hear him? Are you there, Marco?
Yeah, I'm here.
Oh, okay, now we can hear you. Okay. So, so tell us, Marco, a little bit about the Treating Yourself Expo and what you guys have planned for this year.
Well, this year, as you know, it's going to be the second year that we're having the glass blowing demonstration with teams from U.S., Canada, and Japan this year. And something new that we haven't done before is one booth that's specifically going to be all glass artists. Not just like functional glass, but pendants, beads, marbles. It's going to, we're already, basically from that alone and the response we've gotten from the online, we've more than doubled our online ticket sales compared to last year.
Very cool. And so last year, how many people actually attended the event last year?
We had between 12 and 15,000.
That's very cool,
and
man.
We're anticipating around 20,000 this year.
20,000, wow. And this is at the Metro Toronto Convention Center. This is a very fancy place, actually, to have a marijuana expo. It's totally, like, it's one of the big spots in Toronto, isn't it?
Well, it is, and actually it's the same place where the G20 summit was.
Sorry, the same place that what?
The G20 summit?
Oh, the G20 summit, right, of course.
When Toronto had all that problems, yeah. As a matter of fact, 2 weeks after the G20 summit, we had the expo. And it was the Vapor Lounge. The first year we were on 3 different levels. Now, thank God, we're all on one level now. But the first year, our Vapor Lounge is where they had the meetings for the G20 summit.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So I was thinking it's too bad that they didn't have the meetings after, because with the aroma and such from all the vapor smoke, it could have, been in a much pleasant mood.
Right. Now about the event this year, this is the 4th annual Treating Yourself Expo, isn't it?
Yes, it is.
Number 4. And it has definitely improved over the past few years. I've been to all 3 of the previous ones. I thought they were absolutely fantastic. Last year's, of course, the best. We ended up broadcasting live from Pot TV the entire event, or a big chunk of it. Marco, I hope we're able to do the same this year. I wanted to talk to you about that later as well, but we definitely want to broadcast live from the event and show off what's happening there to everybody.
Well, I'm more than happy to supply you this spot again and allow you to do that.
Excellent, man. Yeah, and so some of the stuff that you're doing that's different this year than last year, like last year you started the glass blowing thing. You also had a big, huge vapor lounge last year. Maybe tell us a little bit about what some of those features are of the TY Expo.
Well, this year in the Vapor Lounge, we're trying to get those electronic electronic nails from Highly Educated. We're trying to get a couple of those in there.
In the
So
vapor
people
lounge.
could come in, in the vapor lounge. People could come and medicate with their butter. We have a couple of new vaporizers coming on board into vapor lounge. So we're looking for a lot more action in there this year. It's not going to be just 2 or 3 vaporizers companies. It'll be at least 5. So we've almost doubled the vaporizer companies in there. The expo itself, we're seeing a lot more from the activism part. We're getting doctors coming in and going to be having a booth, like the CMMC. And I'm hoping that they're going to be finding patients there on site. The other thing that is of importance is that we're getting people in the hydroponic industry is coming on board and taking much larger booths. And you'll see that when you come in this year. All the main big booths in the front are all hydroponic companies. So it's a big difference. And I think the swinging thing is going to, the pendulum is swinging to our side. And even with these laws and how they're saying they're going to eliminate the our grow permits, I'm bringing in John Conroy. We're going to be doing fundraising at the expo. We're going to be making it known in the media and mainstream public during the expo that patients are not going to stand for what the upper government is proposing.
Right. So the new MMPR system, you're going to be talking a lot about the failures, I guess, of this new system, taking away people's personal cultivation by March 2014.
Right. And let's face it, who knows how to grow better than the people who've been growing it now? To have just like a handful of companies to do commercial grows, that's not going to help a patient that doesn't have any money. They can't afford to buy it.
Well, so Marco, can you give us the date of the TY Expo and tell people where to go online to find out more information about it?
Well, the date of the expo is May the 24th to the 26th, and they could get tickets online at treatingyourselfexpo.com. We still have a few VIP passes left. This year, we're hoping to get as many as 15 strains, if not more. Last year we had 21, so each year it keeps getting more and more. I'm really looking forward to seeing you guys from Cannabis Culture, and hopefully we'll get Jody coming down. I don't know if it's after the weekend she's going to be visiting Mark or not. I would really like to see a lot more people from the West Coast and the East Coast, getting together, putting our heads together, and beating the system of what we're fighting now. And
Jody's coming.
The Fraser Institute said that in 5 years the Canadian government can have $3.5 billion if they just could legalize that. So I just wish the government would just get their heads out of their asses.
No kidding. And Marco, I think you've done a great job at really making this a public issue there in Toronto and legitimizing it there at the convention center. It's worked well. And in the videos when I talk to you, you always do bring it back to that same reason that you're fighting a battle here for the patients, and it's good to see you doing that stuff. And I hope you have a lot of success this year. We're going to try and broadcast as much of it as possible on Pot TV, so we'll be right there with you. Marco, before I let you go, I want to talk to you a little bit about Glass Culture magazine. You have a new issue coming out this week, or it's very soon anyway. Can you tell us about the magazine and how it's been going?
Well, we're in issue 4, and it'll be out next week in the stores. Hopefully, it all depends on how the distributor works it. But the magazine is going phenomenal. We've gotten so much positive feedback. One of our staff was at the Champ Show in Las Vegas last week, and we have a lot. The stores are telling us they can't keep it on the shelf. So that's the good thing. When magazines are hurting, other publications are hurting across the board, this publication, as a matter of fact, it's going to supersede Treating Yourself. That's how fast it's taking off.
Yeah, it's really, we sell a lot of really heady glass downstairs in the store, and there's a ton of great glass artists these days making some incredible stuff. These aren't just your standard bongs. It's really an art form. And I think it's hard sometimes with the photography, but it translates well to a magazine to really look at these they're virtually glass sculptures. So yeah, check. Where do people find out Glass Culture? That's in stores across Canada. Is that in the U.S. as well, Marco?
It's worldwide, actually.
Worldwide.
Same distribution network as Treating Yourself. And just like the Treating Yourself magazine, people could go to glassculturemagazine.com and download all the previously published issues that we've done. So online now, they can download issues 1 through 3.
Fantastic. Glassculture.ca?
It's glassculturemagazine.com. It's a long one.
Glassculturemagazine.com. Got it. Excellent. Well, Marco, thanks a lot. We'll definitely have you back before the TY Expo again to talk a little bit about what's happening there in the lead up and give you some more promotion there. So we'll see you soon.
Okay, nice talking to you, Jeremiah.
Thanks, Marco.
Bye, Marco.
Bye. Take care. Cheers.
All right, Marco Renda.
He's coming to the glass gathering too, right?
Right, yeah. Marco
remember
makes
him
his
saying.
way out here very often to the West Coast, and he comes and chills with us here. Glass gathering. So good to see you guys.
Good to see you.
Thanks
How's
for
your
coming
week?
on the show, Remo.
How's your week?
Week's been good. Been recovering from the popcorn the entire week, pretty much.
Nice.
Now, actually, you know what? When I eat edibles, the next day I usually wake up and my eyes are all caked shut, and it's like, it's really rough. But the popcorn didn't really affect me too badly the next day. I was just totally gone on the show, but I was actually able to function the next day,
Yeah, it was a lot of weed.
considering I ate pretty much the full bag of it.
Jared?
Yeah?
I just got a text from our webmaster for making sure everything's going perfectly before we go live with 420rally.ca.
Yes.
So I just got to check something, but do you have any questions for me before I go check?
Wait, why don't you go check and then you come
I'll
back?
come back and I'll let you know if the thing is ready for people to
Okay, that sounds good.
We're
Dave's
waiting
going to
for
go
you.
check. He's wondering about. We're wondering if 420rally.ca is the website address, and if that's the place that the entire national 420 campaign is going to be at. So they're still working on getting that dealt with. He's going to come back and tell us if that's the new address.
420's fast approaching.
Yeah, it's not very far away.
It's like Christmas for potheads in this city.
It really is too. It's huge in Vancouver. Better than Christmas for sure.
Yeah.
Well, and you guys are both involved in 420 here. Now, we were just talking to Marco about his expo. You guys have an expo coming here to Vancouver. Why don't you guys tell us? You were on the show last week talking about the expo, but why don't we talk a little bit more about it for our event show?
Sure, well, we're doing 2 separate events on the same weekend. We're doing the Kush Cup, and we're also doing a Health Expo. But the Health Expo is going to offer also a 30% marijuana content booths, basically. So we're going to have lots of speakers there. We're going to have the Wisecracks. They're from CKNW. They're doctors. They're pot supportive. So they're on a big radio station here in Vancouver. They'll be presenting. And also we're going to be doing the Kush Cup. And that's going to have a boat cruise. And right now we're trying to get Cheech and Chong to come. So, yeah, we'll be adding that to the lineup.
That'd be awesome. That'd be awesome.
Yeah.
That would be very
That's
cool.
right.
So,
Cheech and Chong, that would be very cool.
yeah, we put an offer to get them. So hopefully they'll have a show with VIP access for Kush Cup judges at the actual show. And then also for one night we're going to have them come and hang out and do a meet and greet for a couple hours with just the people that purchase VIP judges passes at the Kush Cup.
Right.
So does that
So,
cover everything?
Kush Cup
It's a lot to
and
cover.
the expo, but this is at
And
the,
then Monday's Canada Day. Woo!
right.
Where's the expo going to be?
It's at the P&E. It's at the Forum. So it's VancouverHealthExpo.com. You can check it out on there.
What are those dates?
June 28th, 29th, and 30th.
And 30th. And then
Yeah.
Cannabis Day is right afterwards.
On the Monday. It's a long weekend. So if you're coming out to join us for the Kush Cup, I know I've been advertising June 28th to 30th, but Monday's Canada Day, and that's worth the trip itself. So
Cannabis Day.
Cannabis Day,
Cannabis
sorry.
Day.
Sorry.
Right. And so that's those events are cool. That's awesome about the two. It's cool that you're piggybacking the Kush Cup and the Health Expo together. And that the fact that you guys got to the P&E and actually the P&E, the city allowed you to do this, that's huge. That's a coup for me. Like, and you're allowed to have pot leaves on the advertising. You're allowed to
Yeah,
say that
marijuana
it's
imaging is
marijuana-related.
allowed, and
Yeah.
also we're going to have live glass blowing with artisan glass. We're going to have red beer there. We're also going to do it at the Kush Cup site. So we'll have 2 spots doing that. There's going to be a lot of speakers. We'll be updating on the website who they are. So, and it's really going to be an exciting event. And I think it's a way for us to destigmatize marijuana as a medicine and put it in the health industry as where it should be. And that's what we're trying to do, and that's how we sold it to the P&E, and that's why they're willing to let us showcase our expo there. So I hope people not only come down, but if you're interested in getting a booth, make sure you come check it out. Go on our website. There's still some booths left. And yeah, not just marijuana, but also health-related booths. So
Is that your water?
I don't think so.
Can I have a swig of it? Thank you. Okay, cool. And Remo just passed me this. For anybody out there who doesn't know these guys, I mean, obviously you guys know who the Weed Guy and Remo are, most of the people watching this show. But if you want to find these guys online, they have videos on Pot TV. They both have very successful YouTube pages with tons of hits. And they're putting together a show, aren't you guys, called Kush Brothers. What's going on with the Kush Brothers?
Yeah, we've been filming. We've been doing lots of traveling, as I'm sure you'll get to later. We were just in Barcelona. Me and Remo are continually having to match up schedules to get it filmed, but we've done 3 or 4 parts of the segment. So, and we're always making videos, but to do our own show is taking some time, but we're working on it hard, that's for sure.
Awesome.
It's going to be good.
It's gonna
Super
be
good.
And
yeah,
Remo, what do you got here? You have a trophy sitting down.
I do. Check this thing out.
Oh, man.
you can also watch my videos on kush.ca.
First time ever in Canada. It's a first place Spannabis Cup.
Spannabis Cup, first place.
Representing Canada.
So one of the largest expos on the planet related to pot is Spannabis in Spain. It's huge. It's gigantic. And these guys both were just there.
They got Morocco right beside it, so they've always got the hash scene there. It's decriminalized. They have a really massive trade expo show for the industry. It's the biggest one I've ever been to. I heard San Francisco's just as big.
Yeah.
But we went with Advanced Nutrients there, and they had a double tier booth with drinks and Advanced Nutrients girls, and they're giving away lots of stuff. And we had our own area to blaze. So, and they have like dispensaries there that are more like clubs, and they recognized our health certificates in Canada also, so we got a cheaper price. So, and they had wax, they had all different kinds. I put up a couple videos of it. I'm sure Remo's been to, he's done the Resin Club and other places too. You can check out his videos.
Remo has tons and tons of videos from Spannabis online.
The
Jesus,
most
pages
coverage
of
on
them.
any of these events.
Oh, for sure. Blows everybody else's coverage away. And that's
Not only that, but he's been to Amsterdam, won a cup there, now in Spannabis, and everyone knows BC Bud's the best, right? But now we're actually putting it on the map and winning awards for it, and proving it. So,
exactly.
and no one else is doing that.
Remo, what was this for? What?
That was for some butter we entered.
For butter.
And it was the weirdest contest I've ever been in.
Give him the mic.
Usually you can see who you're competing against. I couldn't see any of the, I didn't see any of the other product at all. Didn't even see pictures of it. And buds included. Didn't see any of that. And then during the awards ceremony, I couldn't understand a word because I did not speak Spanish. And that was the very last word was that. And I was floored. But that was the biggest, one of the biggest shows I've ever been to. There was an estimated 40,000 people there. They had 179 booths, which is too much to see in 3 days. They should actually make it a 4-day event. It would make it a lot easier to actually see the whole thing. It was absolutely crazy. There was a riot at the Advanced Nutrients booth for nutrients. I've never seen that before in my life. The people in Spain are just crazy. They're very passionate about their weed and growing too.
Free stuff.
Oh yeah.
And free stuff. Yeah, I saw the video in there because they're tossing out, hundreds of dollars worth of goods.
And Vance is giving out 500 euros like regularly, like 4 or 5 times a day. Not to mention just free giveaways. And then they had the wheel spinning and yeah. it was
Wheel of
insane.
Fortune.
Yeah, in terms of like free stuff, Advance took it to the next level, and I think people like that stuff. But it's right by the ocean. It's beautiful there. The food there is phenomenal. They have lots of tapas and that sort of thing. And I also went and visited the Hash and Herb Museum. Is that what it's called?
Yeah, I went there as well.
Yeah.
Actually, I put up a video of us going out to dinner tonight. Actually,
Oh, nice.
in Barcelona at that Barca de Salamanca.
Yeah,
Remember that place?
is phenomenal. Yeah, it's really good. It's got amazing seafood, and yeah, Remo did a really good video of it. You should go check it out.
We're going to have to send people. It's youtube.com/urbanremo is where most of the videos are, right?
Yeah,
Right, Urban Remo. And you do have Urban Grower as well.
I
on
bounce
YouTube.
between the two
You bounce
channels.
back and
Right?
forth. And of course, youtube.com/ what is it, Mark Klokeid now, not the Weed Guy anymore. I never know what you're
Yeah,
changing things to.
but save time. Just go to kush.ca. It's right there.
Kush.ca, or if you check out Pot TV, we post a lot of their videos. We don't post all of them, but there's just so
I have
damn
stuff
many
that's
of them.
been ripped off YouTube, and I put it on kush.ca though. Like it's a platform that's not connected to YouTube, so it's like HD videos you can watch directly. Some of my like riot footage and stuff that's been banned on YouTube. I put it directly on
You might want to bring the mic a little
kush.ca.
closer, do you?
Do we have time?
Not too close.
Do we have time for me to show a bud?
Oh, hell yeah. Show the
I brought,
buds.
it's for my last crop, so it's not a fresh bud, but it's Rockstar.
Oh, we got plenty of time. Let's see.
Okay.
Let's check them out. And yes, we can show off all you got there for the cameras. It's like, and last time, okay, Remo, last time you came on the show,
I only brought a couple buds.
we had that jar and it was totally full, I think, like to the top from
it
the bottom.
was.
Yeah.
Sublimator
And the
dudes here.
entire thing got, yeah, we totally slaughtered it. And that was an ounce. And then you also brought on, it was like we smoked 2 ounces on the show or something ridiculous.
Well, we're trying to set a record. I don't know if that was a record, but you
Well,
know, we gotta set the bar pretty high, right?
It set it high, and we had Chris Bennett on that episode. Now, Chris Bennett is the former manager of Pot TV. He said he thought it was a Pot TV record, 2 ounces on the show. I don't know, maybe we've done it before.
Nice.
It's, you know, they've smoked so much before in the past on Pot TV. But Chris Bennett, he knows his stuff, so.
All right.
And actually,
setting records.
Mark, you're making a movie with Chris Bennett right now.
Yep, ancient cannabis use. I'm also the co-executive producer with Remo, also as the co-executive producer of The Culture High, which just began filming about 2 weeks ago. And
That's a sequel to The Union.
Yeah, that's the
by Adam
follow-up to The
Scorgie.
Union, yeah. And I'm doing ancient cannabis use with Chris. So very exciting pieces that I'm honored to be a part of.
Cool, man.
Okay, I'm gonna stick my bud in the camera. Is that all
Okay,
right?
Yeah,
shove it in the
please
camera
do.
there, buddy. Give her!
Show it off.
I don't know which way to jump here.
There we go.
And what is this, Bud Remo?
Okay, this is Rockstar.
This is the Rockstar.
Oh, yeah, are you there?
It's all good, isn't it?
How's it look?
You need more light?
No, it should be good. Yeah.
You see it?
Oh yeah, just
Oh,
hold
yeah.
it there. There, hold it. Hold it. Yeah. Don't move it. Yeah, hold it.
Okay.
This is awesome.
Makes my eyes red just looking at it.
Alright, I got 2 joints.
Nice. Thank you. Thank you.
That's it.
Looks nice.
Have you guys shown the cat yet?
Cat in the box? No, we haven't.
Right there?
Cat in the box.
Lower.
It's a nice looking bud.
Okay. That's bud of the day.
Confirmed.
Bud of the day.
Bud of the day.
Rockstar. Very cool. And what was the butter? Sorry, what was the butter made? What was the strain of the butter?
It was actually a mixture of, I made it from straight buds. It was a mixture of blue cheese and Bubba Kush.
Blue cheese and Bubba Kush. Very
But made
cool.
with buds, not shake. And that makes all the difference in the world. Like it just picks up more terpenoids. It makes it into crazy butter, crazy concentrate. But you know what? I have a feeling I was competing against hash and maybe bubble hash and stuff. And if you smoke West Coast butter and you compare that,
They had extracts there. I'm not so sure about that. I remember at Resin Club.
I didn't see what I was competing against. They just
I know, but
I don't
I'm
know.
saying I did purchase in Spain like wicked wax.
they do have
So
it.
for like 50 euros a gram at the Resin Club.
Hey, I'm
you're in
honored
Barcelona,
to win.
go
I'm
there.
honored to win their award and bring it back to Canada for you folks.
Yeah.
There you go. Now, Remo, that's not your first award. This is a long line of awards you've won, basically. You won a TY Cup. Didn't you? Wait, did you win a TY Cup? I'm starting to
I've
forget.
got 8 different awards. I got 3
different
from
awards.
TY.
3 from TY.
Two
for sure.
first, a third.
Yeah, I have photos of you winning many awards. I just can't remember where the hell they were.
Well, you know, the funny thing is, when I came home, I was saying to my wife, you know, now that I got this, you know, it's time that I get a display case. And I went to my medicating room, and there's a glass display case with everything in it, so I just slid that one in amongst the rest of them. There you go. True story.
So, Remo, you got a website going on, too, that you've been developing, right? The marketplace thing going? Is that still...
UG
Yeah.
Marketplace.
UGmarketplace.com. We also have Urban
Jump
Grower
on the
Online.
too.
It has a forum and stuff going, and we got all kinds of stuff going.
Mm-hmm.
Lots
Now-
of pokers in the fire.
Exactly. And you also got an honorary award from Advance, didn't you? Or some sort of... What did they give you? Somebody...
Oh, yeah, that's for basically being around for 10 years. Helped run their medical marijuana program over there and helped medical patients grow quality cannabis. And I got a little obelisk piece of crystal, I guess.
Nice.
It's kind of cool.
Racking them up.
Yeah.
Cool. So, yeah, you boys, I don't know. Just was there anything else that I wanted to talk to you about? It was just basically about your expo that I really wanted to talk about because this was the event and expo show. But
Yeah, we made Cheech and Chong an offer for them to come out here. We're going to do a show open to the public for everyone to come down and buy tickets to. And if
Boat
all
cruise.
goes well. And the boat cruise is booked. That's on the Sunday. During the day there, it'll be 12 till 4.
Yeah, I was talking to some of the chatters about the boat cruise. People seem to be really interested in that idea. I loved the boat cruise last year, man. The Kush.ca boat cruise.
It's the best part of the
Kush
trip.
Cup.
The best part, I
best
think.
part.
Yeah,
It was
just
very
to be on
cool.
a boat.
It was fun hanging out.
Yeah, and the whole crew that run that boat are just awesome, and I'll never forget Kiwi doing the demonstration. Okay?
Yeah, Kiwi.
Paying
Oh, yeah.
attention?
I'm calling in my roommate who just
There's a
joined
job waiting
us
for
here,
Kiwi
Courtney.
with Air Canada.
Yeah,
Hi,
yeah,
Courtney.
for sure. Well, he's always flying, so it makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah, Kiwi was doing demonstrations. Actually, the boat was hilarious. There was Red One was on the boat with us from the Rascals.
Yeah, and
Is he? What about the Rascals this year? Are they not doing anything for?
yeah, I'm sure they'll be coming out. I know Bizarre. I got a Kush Cup song that's already been written, and I've heard it. I'm waiting to release that. We'll do that soon. So and
That's
I'll
so
how'd that come
bizarre.
about?
This is bizarre from D12 has made a song about the Kush Cup.
Yeah. We basically were trying to have him out last year, and he wasn't able to make it, and he felt bad, so he made a Kush Cup song, and it's awesome. And it's
Have you heard it already?
Oh yeah, man. I
Oh,
have
nice.
it, Yeah.
It's not published yet or anything.
No.
When
I
is
got
it
the
going to
rights
be?
to it and everything.
When's it going to be released?
I don't know. I wanted to release it with a video. You think I should just release it?
No, you need a video. That'd be.
Yeah, I
Will
want
Bizarre
to do a
make?
video with it.
Will
so.
Bizarre make a video for it?
Oh yeah, he's been calling me.
What?
So yeah, and the problem with
That's
him not
huge.
getting over the border is
Do
he
it.
said he had a record, but he had a record check and he has no record. It was just
Yeah,
like,
because he was supposed to perform last year, but they stopped him at the border, turned him around, even though he shouldn't have been really.
yeah, and I was choked.
Smells good.
Kosher Kush.
Kosher Kush.
DNA genetics.
But I'm
Kosher.
trying to take
Is it
care
blessed
of,
by a rabbi?
The seeds are, believe it or not.
Really?
Yeah.
So it
For
really
real.
is kosher. There you
real,
go.
Yeah.
yeah, I'm trying
Not
to
just for Christians
promote the Cheech and Chong with the Fox. So if they don't,
or Muslims.
Yeah, that's
then
a
I'll be hiring other rock acts, but we'll hire more rap acts as it closer to come.
and that's cool that you've developed this relationship with our local Vancouver, like the big time radio stations. The Fox and Rock 101 are the two largest rock stations in Vancouver, and you're on both of them talking about weed all the time.
All the time.
Yeah, well, you brought me on the Bro Jake show. That was fun that one time.
Yeah, no, it's been awesome. Todd Hancock, he's had me on his last day before he took 2 months off, and Remo and I went down there, and I rarely drink them because when I do, it's usually a gong show. But yeah, I had a couple beers with him because it was his last show, right? So
Tequila.
yeah, and
Oh,
a couple
nice.
shooters of tequila. We went down there, so and you know,
Saucing on the show.
I'm not paying them any money or nothing. They're just good friends, right? So it's good exposure for the marijuana movement in itself that these guys in this radio station are showing support, right?
They like to blaze.
Yeah. So and same with the Bro Jake show. They've had me on a couple times, and they're super cool. And I'm gonna have Southern Death Threat. I'll definitely be having them coming back again. We've already talked about it. So and Worders and Cure wants to come back. So. But I'm definitely going to be hiring some more names. I'm just trying to go after my big act, which is Cheech and Chong. Cheech and Chong. So, and we'll see where they go. I put an
Can
offer in.
Cheech come over the border? I don't
Oh
know.
yeah,
Tommy's
they've
up
already
here
been
all the
here.
time.
They did the Queen Elizabeth Theater for their first
They did.
show when they reunited. I was there. And they've also done the casino, the River Rock. They've sold out all that there. So.
That's
Tell
right.
the story how they took your weed at the Cheech and Chong show. That was us.
Oh yeah, they the security took the weed and they took it back there, and I went there to go get it, and they said is it okay if we take some pictures with it? And literally, Buddy ended up having me take some pictures with it, and
How much weed was it?
like a half
Pound and a
pound.
half?
No, it was like a half pound. No, it was one of those bags.
He brings a half pound to the Cheech and Chong
like a
show.
half pound.
And they talked
Nice.
about it on stage.
Yeah, they put it on stage, and like we're saying, it was
They brought
fulfilling.
Cheech and Chong
It
brought
was
the
used
weed
as
out
a
on stage.
prop throughout the evening. That's my Tommy
Nice.
Chong
Well, you
story.
always carry these large bags with you. Now I've actually
I'm allowed
traveled.
to carry 600 grams. You know, I always have been for like the last 8 or 9 years or something like that. So
Yeah.
I've used it as much as possible.
600. Both of
Yeah,
you.
yeah, same with Remo. So
And I've actually traveled overseas with you or on airplanes and stuff. And when we go through the airport, it was bizarre last time. You just opened up your bag and it showed them this big, huge bag of weed. And they're like, okay, come on through. And they just sent you through. I was like, don't you want to like check? I was just
yeah,
alarmed.
in Canada it's a breeze.
great, but-
you know, I've only ever had a hassle 1 or 2 times.
I guess that wasn't international. That was just a Toronto. So
Yeah, no, I'm not taking anything international. That's only for Canada.
right.
Yeah, but I heard
That
that
would be illegal.
That would be illegal. I heard
It would be
Soma,
illegal.
and they not only that, they've searched me. I've like been heavily searched at the airport.
Do they ever? Yeah, right. They give you.
One time I went to the airport and I was taken off to Hong Kong, and they decided that I smelled like weed. And I was like, yeah, I'm a federal exemptee. I smoked a joint before I came, and I'm not carrying any or nothing. And they took me into the back room. Then they brought the dog, and then the dog like went up on me and like sat down and alerted. And they grabbed my like luggage and shit, and then the dog alerted to everything there. Cause like I'm around weed constantly. I'm like licensed to smoke it, right? So everything's gonna smell like weed. And then they handcuffed me and took me through the airport, close to where my boarding was. Sorry, I had to have a puff. And then they took me in the back and they strip searched me.
Holy shit.
Yeah, and then they're like, hurry up, you want to make your flight? Because I had my carry-on. They said they
Like,
pulled
what
my
kind of a
bag.
strip search do they do to you there?
They totally strip search you, make you bend over and ask if you put anything up there and fucking...
Make you cough?
I'm sure when those guys signed up for that job, that's what they're envisioning they're going to be doing, right? So I had
Peeking
a good
at assholes
chuckle. It
all
was
day.
slightly embarrassing, but more fucking comical, actually. And I had nothing to worry about in terms of that. I said if I don't make my flight, I'm obviously really going to be pissed. So they rushed me along and they shoved they'd gone through all my shit, so it was all in one pile, and I had to like put it all into my carry-on. And they were literally holding the plane up. So I like got to my flight entrance, and then the one stewardess was there and like with the walkie-talkie, like, okay. And I was like, okay, see you fuckers later, right? And then I let her, and they got onto the plane. And another time I was in Calgary, and we used to be able to smoke cigarettes in the smoking rooms. And I smoked a couple joints in there. And the cops ended up coming. Calgary police in the airport.
Oh, Calgary police.
Yeah.
Over there.
And there was two chicks there. They're like my support team. They just walked in. They're like, oh my God, that smells so good. And they went and like stood there the whole time when the cops came and everything. And the guy's like choked. He's saying I couldn't even fly. He's like, you're inebriated. You're not allowed to fly. I was like, well, if WestJet wants to do that, then that's what they're going to do. And he left. And then like I envisioned that they worked at like the visa booth where they're trying to sign up people for the visas. These two girls, eh? And I'm so glad I was there because I was by myself, and I didn't realize after smoking it was going to cause this commotion. The whole wing that was waiting for their flights, it's like a whole glass like wall, was up at the glass staring into what was going down, right? So I had these two girls to like rely on, right? Anyways, the cop came back and he's like, well, WestJet says it's okay for you to fly. So, and I was like, all right, awesome, right? So, and I was like, they ended up leaving, and then the two girls left me. They were like, we'll wait for your flight with you, right? And as I left, all these people are still staring, right?
Yeah.
So I got to leave with the two supportive girls.
Nice.
And I went to my flight and caught my flight. And WestJet gave me extra extra peanuts when they came in.
Nice.
Or gave me big winks. Yeah, shit, yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, so it was so funny though. But I was actually that was quite a tense moment because the cop was so choked. He was trying to argue, and I was like, what do you mean? I do this in Vancouver airport all the time. I was telling him, man, like, it was no big deal. In Vancouver, what's Calgary got a problem with? We can smoke tobacco, right? So, but I know one guy was sitting there, and he was like doing his like work and wasn't even smoking. It's this big box smoky room, right? And he looked up at me as I sparked up the joint, right? And then he like shook his head, right? And then he like stormed out. So I think he was like the rat in the beginning, right? So.
You've had international issues too.
Sniff it.
Oh yeah.
That's the rock star.
That's the
rock star.
That's my traveling issues. I've had multiple issues.
Yeah, you had an international one, or where was that? Recently?
Multiple times. I had one in Hong Kong where I was coming from Amsterdam back to Hong Kong, and in my bag I have like a little slot, and deep down it was like this little chunk of hash. And when they searched me, they found the hash, held me for the weekend till I could go to court, and ended up going to court, and they gave me a 300 Hong Kong dollar fine or something like that, 50
That's
bucks
all it
Canadian.
Was? I'm surprised.
Yeah, and they called it herbal marijuana.
Herbal marijuana.
They actually kind of recognized my license. But the weird thing is in the cop shop there, they wouldn't let me, I'm diabetic since I had my bone marrow transplant, so I'm insulin dependent. They wouldn't let me take my insulin. They're like, no, you can't shoot up in front of a cop. It's not allowed. So they had to take me to a hospital. And then if I can stay in a hospital, all shackled up. And they put me in this room. It's like a warden inside this hospital, like that they have for people in jail. And they had like 6 dudes that were smuggling like black round eggs. I don't know if it was opium or hash or what it was, eh? And fucking, I'm like in this room all night, and these guys are pooping out whatever they're smuggling, right?
my God.
And there's so many people. I had two like immigration cops with me the whole time, and then they had these other guys that were with them, right? The room was packed, like 6 dudes on beds. So and they only had a short chain for me that I was handcuffed to my bed with, and they had a long one for everyone else, and they like ended up just taking it off and let me have it off. So they're pretty nice to me. Yeah, it's all because I had to take my insulin. They had to put me in there, right?
Right.
I was like, what the fuck, right? So, and then they're like, if you have to get fingerprinted. So I took a big dose of insulin, and then on the Sunday I went back, got fingerprinted, and then the Monday I went to court, and the lawyer was like, yeah, they have to test the hash to make sure that it's hash, and that's going to take 2 weeks. So you're going to have to remain in custody. And I was like, listen, I just want to plead guilty. I made a mistake. It was accidentally in my bag. I was partying. I used weed medicinally in Canada, and I was in Amsterdam enjoying myself, and it was accidentally in there, like, and guilty, right? And, yeah, luckily in court, they read it, and that was that.
So how do you combat against that? Just make sure all your shit is cleaned the fuck out.
Yeah, I've actually done a video about that, too, vacuuming your shit out. So, yeah,
Clean
no,
your shit.
Yeah, I
Don't
totally
bring old
roaches and
backpacks
everything,
loaded with
right?
little bud nuggets
Check
in the
your
bottom.
socks, the bottom of your feet.
Folded under the
if you're a
flap.
grower, leaf on your feet.
Yeah. Or
Yeah.
on your jacket. Like even anywhere. Like it gets all over you.
Crumbs. Like I swear, like the border in Canada, they always search
Your
me so
chapstick.
bad.
You had weed leaf on
I
your
had
chapstick.
weed on one of those screwy ones. I swear, I took it with me on my trip wherever the hell I went. Came back, and it had been in my bag previously here, so it had some crumbs in it.
Yeah.
When I'm in Vancouver, weeds everywhere. And yeah, so they like literally searched me in the Vancouver airport, opened it up, and I had like little tiny flecks. They like gave me a citation or something like that, took it away, and said it was gonna be my record in effect if I tried to apply for CSIS. Like I'm trying to go to America anytime soon.
You can't be a government agent now.
Yeah, and I literally had to get a lawyer to like say it wasn't fair, and then the measurement on it was 0.000.
I remember seeing
So
that.
I was like, yeah, I showed
Jeez,
everyone that. I
that
had
is so
Facebook
funny.
that one.
Yeah, well, I once at the Blaine border terminal here on the border of Canada and the United States, BC, Washington, I got stopped coming back from Seattle Hemp Fest, and I'm going to talk a little bit about the Seattle Hemp and other Hemp Fests. But I was coming back, and I had just a pipe in my bag, and it hadn't been used. It was totally clean, but they said, oh, this has resin in it. But I was
What
like, I
kind
just
of pipe?
bought
Like
it.
a bong
It was a
or like a
teeny
little
little
pipe?
tiny pipe.
What were you
teeniest
doing? You got
little-
it given to you?
It was given to me. It was just in with all the crap I was taking home from Hemp Fest. And they took it away, seized it, put it in a plastic baggie,
Freaked
threatened
out?
me. Oh, they really freaked out. And every single time I go over the border now, I get super harassed, thoroughly like fucked with, always.
It's like people are not dying for marijuana. Why is there this big like stigma about it that it's some like narcotic?
Yeah, I
You know
guess
what
I don't know.
That's the weirdest thing about it. There's no victims. It's not like there's this list of like body bags and victims that are like lining up daily for marijuana use. So like, how are they justifying all this stupid torture? They like just love embarrassing anyone like us. Like in the airport, they paraded me to get searched. They already searched me once, and then they're like, okay, we're gonna take you for a strip search. And then they put me on that like escalator thing, handcuffed for my. I wasn't under arrest, but they had to handcuff me for their safety or some shit like that. But if you're entering or exiting at a border in Canada, no matter what, they have the right to search you, and they don't have to have an excuse or nothing.
You know, it's funny when I go now
Just
to
so
the
y'all
border.
know.
Yeah. When I was just gonna say when I go to the border now, I think you're right. They do get off on this because
I scrub.
you know, if you act like you're really scared of them and stuff
Knew
when
everything.
you're there, and you're like, oh, they seem to really respond like aggressively towards that. When I go there now, because I've been so thoroughly fucked with every time I do go there, I'm like, all right, do whatever the fuck you want to me. I'm like, you're gonna waste my 3 hours. Here I am.
Yeah,
And
I answer their
if I'm
questions
not
before
afraid-
they
yeah.
ask them. Like, yeah, I pack my own bag.
Yeah.
Yeah, you know.
And
that's
then they
usually-
feel like they have nothing, and they have to just kind of like go along with it as your friend almost or something. It changes their demeanor when you
Not
don't
me, buddy.
care.
I've had them like churn my pants inside out and like go over the seams on my pants.
Oh my god.
That's the lip balm lady.
I guess
that
it's
searched
different every
me.
time, but-
She was looking hard for seeds, I think. I've never sold seeds in my life.
The lip balm lady.
Somehow they
Jeez.
associate me with seeds. I don't even know. Maybe it's because I'm wearing a Mark Emery shirt.
And you do go to a lot of these cannabis-related events. Everywhere you're going is something
I
to do
know.
with pot. Right, so...
I know.
well,
I'm just a
let's-
pot smoker, though. Pot tourist.
Nothing
That's
wrong with
right.
that.
Yeah, man.
Nothing wrong with
Definitely
that.
nothing. Well, I can talk to you guys. If DML's not coming back, I want to move on to some of our events we were talking about. You guys go to the expos. You go to 420. Now, this year at 420, Kush.ca, of course, is always involved. You guys donate a heck of a lot of throwaway herb, right? Aren't you guys...
Allegedly.
Allegedly. Oh, right. I don't know who does it. I have no idea. But
No.
Kush.ca
And
girls
honestly,
get
we've
to-
been supporting it for years. Everyone knows.
Right. And, well, actually, the Baked in BC girls are the ones who toss it out. That's right. We got Ray out here in the audience. But yeah, at 420, not only is there the cannabis farmers market where you can come down and buy pot openly from anybody down there who's selling it to any. You don't have to have a medical license or anything like that, and you don't really have to worry about
It's
the
kind of
cops.
like our neighbors,
Yeah.
Washington.
Right,
I'm
exactly.
comparing everything to that now. What medical program? You got to be 18 plus if you just cross the border. Our border
wonder-
guards got to be worried about people coming up the border from Washington into Canada with weed now. Used to be the other way around. The shit was going that way.
Gonna change?
Like
That's
that.
going to definitely have some effect on the way the people at the border act, because there's going to be so much pot tourism happening in Washington State.
Yeah.
And they're not
I want to
saying-
move there.
You don't have to be from Washington.
Sounds safe
to
and
buy it.
peaceful. Sounds like there's no threat of jail for pot smoking there.
There shouldn't be.
And in
I know, well,
Colorado,
there
you
is
can
here.
grow your own.
Growing here,
You can
it's
grow 6
3
plants in
years
Colorado.
minimum.
That's crazy.
3 years minimum for growing here.
Yeah, mandatory minimums here in Canada.
Yeah, I think people are going to have to start realizing.
And that's going to apply to everybody after March 2014 when they take everybody's personal cultivation licenses away, all the medical marijuana growers. Or they try to. That's
Yeah.
going to go to court, but... So, yeah, 420 this year, you guys will obviously be there. You'll be there anyway.
I
You
should
guys
be
got a
there.
booth, right?
If I'm not traveling,
Is it-
I'll be there.
You have an iMedicate booth?
I'm not sure. Yeah, I think we do. I'm
You
pretty
haven't
sure we
been
do.
to... I was going to
Yeah, they come to
you about
every
this in
event.
private,
It's
but
not just
you
me.
haven't been to any of the meetings because you were on vacation.
Oh, but I've
or-
been getting all the emails. Oh my god.
Yeah, no kidding.
The whole poster email thing. I've been participating.
Yeah.
Everyone knows where I stand in the meeting.
That's
and
true.
I want my same spots.
Okay.
You tell the crew for me, okay?
Yeah.
When's the next meeting?
I was going to say the 420 Vancouver website is going to be up to date this weekend. I myself am going to be working on doing an update for it. And it'll also have an updated map of the positions that are available, because we organize it here at the Cannabis Culture headquarters, the 420 event that happens and Cannabis Day event that happens, with a team of other people from the Vancouver Seed Bank and the major sponsors of the event come together and sort of informally host the thing. In the past couple of years, we've put on stages.
It's gone so big that we got to get a stage there.
We
Is
have to
what
get a
it
stage.
came into, and that's a lot
Yeah.
of money. And everyone had to throw in, and then we figured let's organize it, and that's
Yeah.
why it takes place the way it does.
Yeah, exactly.
It's been known to be so big that it blocks off traffic. So when it got to that level,
We do block off 2 roads, and actually preemptively we block off a road completely now on Howe Street. We're going to have a second stage on Howe, and we'll have booths lined down Howe as well. The city shuts that down for us so we can set up our marijuana selling booths on that street.
rain or shined.
So Vancouver, City of Vancouver, pretty awesome on this one.
Yeah,
On
it's
all of our-
it's amazing with the laws that are going, taking place with the mandatory minimums, and then we have events like that. It's
I'm just happy it's
quite
the
the
VPD
atmosphere.
and not the RCMP. Because the RCMP seems to be the ones against the medical marijuana dispensaries, really busting everybody. VPD hasn't busted too many dispensaries, though yours got busted. One of your locations got busted recently, and we heard that another one did, just last week, or
I know I couldn't confirm that.
Which other one?
hasn't been confirmed.
Yeah, I don't
It
know.
was-
I didn't hear anything.
I shouldn't.
Foresight?
We shouldn't even. Yeah, we shouldn't talk about it unless we have a
Yeah,
confirmation.
no confirmation.
Tell me later.
Yeah,
You were
exactly.
saying
We
it on
don't-
the
we
show
don't know if
last
they're-
week,
I
though.
know I said it last week, and it
I
never
don't
was
know what the
confirmed
fuck
for
are you
me
talking
either,
about.
so I shouldn't.
It's already
bring
been
up
said.
We always just throw
If
it out
anything,
there
it's
on the
advertising for
show.
them. Call them, see if they're open. Go down there
Yeah.
if they are.
And if you find out, give me a call and tell me what happened.
Yeah, well, I think that there's going to be
I
a
will look
lot
into
of
it.
legal battles that are going on, and I think that fundamentally we have the right to grow our own medicine and to use cannabis. It's been used for thousands of years, and regardless of what some court says, it's going to continue to happen in whatever laws they are.
Yeah.
And it's ancient and old, and it's a great medicine, and the word's out. And if our neighbors are doing it now in Washington, it's a free-for-all here. I literally think things are just going to change because the concept of making it punishable by jail crime
Yep.
is
The
not
weed's out of
right.
the bag.
I think so.
Can't go back in now.
I mean, Washington's huge. That's our neighbor.
I got a
No, it's totally
question.
true.
Question
that,
away,
Remo?
Remo.
Can we try that vapor thing out again?
Yeah, can we get that thing over
The
there?
sublimator's in the house. Remo,
Hey, Rico!
Remo wants to try the sublimator.
Come here! Come here, man. You
Remo
gotta
wants to
get,
try
Remo
sublimator.
wants to try the sublimator again.
And we do have Enrico with the
creator of the next trend-setting. I think
right.
it's gonna get rid of all the volcanoes and blowtorches because you can put extracts in it.
It is a pretty cool device, and
For extracts, I think it's
we
amazing.
haven't had Enrico on the show since he had the finished product here. This is the one that's being sold by West Coast Gifts across Canada, I guess. And it's
I'm
the finished
excited.
version. Doesn't throw sparks, according to Enrico. That's right. The beta version. We did a show a few weeks ago. It was my 100th show. We did 155 tokes on air. And we had the sublimator here, but it was a beta version of the sublimator, and some sparks went flying out of it and actually hit Al, the alchemist's hand with electricity.
I'm
And-
sure when they're trying to, like, you know, make airplanes and shit, they crashed a few.
Well, that's true. Now, Enrico, maybe you should show off the new product for the show them what the change there on the device. That's the camera right behind you there.
Your butt's showing the camera.
That's right.
Look, I got my butter out. I'm just like,
Show it to the camera there, brother. You see where the camera is? Enrico, there's the camera. Right there. Brandon, now you told me this is CSA standard approved. That's the parts, or is that the whole device, or how does that work? You told me that before it was
Parts on it are CSA approved.
all the parts are CSA
Yeah,
approved.
it's all CSA approved. The diameter here and everything is CSA approved. And my other one with the computer one
Yeah.
is actually being approved.
Your,
as we
the
speak.
camera is right there, so if you want to,
I'm
yeah.
so sorry.
Yeah. Yeah, right. So, and the microphone can't hear you.
The
but at
shit's
least you got
awesome.
to see it. So, yeah, you might. There's a plug-in over on the wall there, and there's a power bar back here if you want one. I can't grab it for you, but feel free to dig through our wire
You know how many
collection.
that's
there.
going?
This is the one that's shit level.
Do you need me to grab
So
one?
yeah,
It's plugged in. We're in business.
we did talk about the sublimator on the show a few times. So I'm not gonna.
I got some purple kush and some Viper I'm going to roll up
Nice, excellent.
while we wait for it to heat up.
Right now, I still wanted to talk about the Global Marijuana March. That's another event that happens the first weekend, usually the first weekend in May.
Makes me think of Marijuana Man.
Which that the Global Marijuana March?
The Steve Pay guy.
Oh, Stephen Pay getting arrested. at the
Getting
Global-
arrested, that's what it makes me
Right.
think of.
We did talk with DML about Hug Power on the show as well, and
That was
how,
a crazy day.
That yeah,
Not
that
just
was
that event there, but before the whole getting pulled over and then.
One of the pinnacle moments of my weed activism.
Yeah,
was
that was
the
crazy.
here at the Global Marijuana March.
Arms around him and we started the chant.
Eric the Suit says that was one of the pivotal days in his marijuana activism.
And having the police escort us after pulling me over, busting me, blazing a joint in my van, and leaving his sunglasses on my roof after I picked you guys up.
Yes.
And he pulled us over again. Was like, "Oh my God, I left my sunglasses on your roof." And you and David were in the back of the van, crouched down.
Yeah.
Oh, it was so clutch.
We were so close to being.
And then after
busted.
that, they had to after they let Steve go, and then we went to get escorted by all of them, you know, as we're doing the
through
march.
city.
And
yeah, the cops actually correspond with us. They come up to us and they ask us, "Where do you guys want to go through the city?" And that year I organized the Global Marijuana March here
So
in
good.
Vancouver.
PK?
I've been at the Toronto one for the past few years, but before that I would organize it here. And the cops came right to me right beforehand. I showed them the map. We walked through it together. They led our march. And so
And
the cops
I
really
was
are-
the caboose. I had my my Dodge Caravan back then, and I had my big stupid signs on the outside of it. And you guys told us to go slow as possible.
Yeah.
And then we had Kiwi with the DJ thing, and we had to hook up my generator on a skateboard, and it was running beside the van as we were going. So
I
we
remember
had
it.
DJ and music.
The footage we have of it is hilarious. I did a video about it. That you can find.
Memories.
Memories. I'll
Yeah.
put a link to it in
But
the
the
show
cops
notes.
were choked. We were going so slow, because we're shutting down like Robson and like the main streets.
I love the looks we get. As soon as people are like, "What's going on?" and then all of a sudden they get a whiff of us, and they're like, "Ah!" The big smiles come on the faces.
Yeah, we tried to go slow as possible on our little parade.
Yeah.
It was
You know,
awesome. And then
that's
we
the
ended
GMM.
it was English Bay, right?
Yeah. Yes, that's right. We end up in English Bay. This is the
Gorgeous
Vancouver one.
place to
it's
end
one of
a
the
rally.
smaller Vancouver rallies. Actually, the largest global marijuana march in Canada is in Toronto. They have a gigantic global marijuana march. Now, this year, unfortunately, there was some shenanigans that happened, and the global marijuana march in Toronto has now been split into two different marches.
How does that
essentially.
work? What the fuck?
Well, what happened
Who
was...
did that?
Neve from Calm is one of the organizers of the Toronto Freedom Festival. And those guys have piggybacked on the Global Marijuana March, which is a big event that's organized by them. They've had a lot to do with it. And also Hash Mob and other activists in the city of Toronto. It's always been done on the first weekend to correspond with the rest of the Global Marijuana Marches across the world. There's like 300 of them in 26 different cities or whatever.
Okay.
And, but so this year, because the police are so upset about having people in the area where in the big park there in Toronto, where they always had the Toronto Freedom Festival, Neve negotiated with the city, and he could only get the weekend after that. So he kind of single-handedly made a decision to move the march to the second day.
But isn't it on one day?
It was supposed to be, but Neve, because he could only get the contract for the TFF, switched it to that day, but didn't actually tell anybody else, I guess, in the community there in Toronto, or didn't really ask anybody what they thought of it. So now we have Hash Mob and other groups who were a little upset about that, and they're still planning a march on the first weekend, because that's when all the people come out who know about it and who have known about it for years, since Dana Beale started it back in New York in 1999.
So is that the day that everyone's doing it around the world? Isn't it on one day, though?
So around the world,
it's the first Saturday in May everywhere except
Toronto, and a few other places who do it on that second weekend. It has happened in other cities.
When are we doing it in Vancouver?
First Saturday in May.
First Saturday, we'll be joining the rest of the world.
And the
Global Marijuana March, I just wanted to say they're calling it the Global Marijuana March, will be on the first Saturday there in Toronto as well. So it's kind of split into two. I don't know if I'm going to be going to Toronto for either of those because it is split. I might just stay here in Vancouver.
Hey, we're going to have good times.
I want to rock it here.
Hey, I also have word that the correct website is 420rally.ca. It's not active right now, but it should be up by tonight or tomorrow. So on Monday, we're going to do a big push and promotion. We're going to put it on the homepage and get everybody and their dog to sign up for free posters.
My dogs can sign up? That's awesome.
Everybody can sign up.
And you were working on this. And
free posters, free
They're going to be excited.
Neve is also working. I was talking about Neve. And
are you excluding cats? I got one cat.
But
all you cats can sign up.
Neve is working on this website as well with you, right?
That's right. Neve and me and
Neve is a hard-working guy too, and he's doing some good stuff.
He does big things
right.
with it.
I didn't want to be too critical,
Freedom
but
Festival.
it would have been probably helpful if there was some correspondence with other people or talk.
He had it on the day, and why did he work with the police?
It's good when you're doing something in a movement to consult with other key players.
That's right.
Blah, 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 says Marius.
So
louder. Consult with your teammates. Move as a team. Never move alone, and welcome to the Cannabis Dome.
David, before you go, I wanted to just talk about two other things with you. One is the Hemp Fest that happened all across North America and other places in the world. A Hemp Fest is like it's basically a big commercial thing, kind of like what we do on 420 with stages and all that kind of stuff, but they don't actually sell any pot.
In Seattle, they have a lowest police priority thing that allows the police
they announced it on the news after they
allow the police to look the other day for using, not dealing, just using. They come down hard on dealers still.
That's
Even
right.
the organizers discourage dealing at the Hemp Fest.
They do. The organizers don't want people selling weed, and in fact, if they catch you selling weed at Seattle Hemp Fest, they'll boot you the fuck out of there.
I wonder if that has changed now that it's legal to sell weed.
I seriously doubt it, because it's not legal to sell weed outside. It's legal to sell weed if you're the government, and it's under the controlled circumstances that's set forward in 502, and that doesn't
wonder
fit
if
Seattle
anyone will challenge the hypocrisy of allowing some people to be dealers and not others. I wonder. Anyway, that's just a thought. Thinking out loud, blah, blah, blah.
Right, and
Sublimated.
I also wanted to say Seattle Hemp Fest has been going for 21 years
That's
now.
right. It's huge, too. It's the most amount of potheads crammed into one zone ever. I think 100,000 people, something like that? Even bigger?
300,000.
300,000 people. That's like a third of a Woodstock.
Over 3 days.
Yeah.
Yeah. 2 or 3 days.
Seattle.
Depending on the year.
You got to go across the border.
Just a stoner's throw away from here.
Just a walk across the
nice.
Peace Arch.
And on that note, I got to get back to...
Wait, one more, David, was
Making
Cannabis Day.
postcards.
Cannabis Day. Now, how did Cannabis Day start? Do you know the history of Cannabis Day?
Well, the first thing to ever be called Cannabis Day that involved pot protest actually was held in Edmonton in 1977, and I think a local pot activist named Mouse, or Dave Douglas, was at that one.
Right.
And we looked into it, and we found some news clippings from the 78 and 79 gatherings. 78 was 2,000 people at the Alberta legislature. I thought I had invented Cannabis Day, but apparently I just had the same good idea that other pot activists did, which is take Canada's national holiday that everyone gets off anyway, and just change leaves on the flag and celebrate our nation. Now, the dictionary definition or the legal definition of the word nation is people who have common interests. So we're the Cannabis Nation. It's our nation. It's our national flag. It's our national anthem. It's our national day, Cannabis Day, to sing "O Cannaba" and have a good time. So we started that up again in 1994 in Edmonton. Unbeknownst to us, it was originally from Edmonton earlier on in the 70s. And then from Edmonton, I brought it with me to Vancouver when I moved here in 95, and we started doing Cannabis Days in 1996. And there was, I think, a bud raffle on the very first one in 96. And that's when the out-of-the-closet dealing activities began.
A lot of people come out for that one as well. It's not as big as 420,
but...
but...
across the street, I remember one year.
Oh, yeah.
And
well,
we blocked off the traffic.
We used Victory Square for all sorts
and
of...
dance.
Yeah, starting points
we like to shut
of different
traffic
things.
down in Victory Square. Like when Mark was put in jail and the day was taken, we just went out.
No, this is way before that.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah, well, you
we've
guys
used
have
it
been doing it for
often.
years, yeah.
We've
Done
done
like
one on the
10
street
years
too.
before.
The no skunk, no powder
The sublimator?
thing.
Unreal.
The sublimator.
I'm
There's an
already
endorsement
feeling
from Remo. He said
sublime.
this thing's
Sublimator.
unreal, the sublimator.
Yeah,
That's sublime
sure,
with gnome.
I'm gonna split, make like a tree and leaf.
All right, David,
But
thank
I'll
you
leave
very
it
much for coming
to
on the
you.
show.
Thanks for the website
As
update.
always, a
That's
pleasure.
right.
David
So,
Mamalevine.
Watch Monday for Cannabis Culture and Pot TV for the website launch.
Awesome. Thanks, David.
420.
Yep, 420rally.ca. It'll be up soon. Oh, the sublimator.
Still smoking because we've been doing some dabs on it, but there's nothing in there right now.
Oh,
Just gonna
okay.
go get
I
the
guess
dabs.
that I won't smoke it then.
False start.
And look, it's Jer in the audience here.
Hey, look.
Oh,
also-
he always comes down, never be seen on the show.
Oh,
Oh, now he's out.
running away.
What a baby.
Then he's gonna get sublimated.
He loves
That's
it.
your-
Never get him on the show.
You got it?
So this is the oh, I did have a little butter that you gave me from
Okay,
last
ready?
week.
One.
All right, wait, is it ready to go?
Yeah,
here?
that's it.
Yeah.
All right. Whoa. All right.
That's the best thing about it. Okay, go.
He's got to do
Bon
double shot.
voyage.
You've been missing out. Double shot, Mark.
So that was dabbing some butter.
Wow, he's hardcore.
Oh man.
Jeremiah can do it.
You could do oil and butter at the same time. Let's try that.
So Rumpelstiltskin Kush butter.
All right.
I don't know why, but Remo's forcing you to take 2 tokes.
All right, let's do it.
And
Double
I am.
shot.
There you go.
Pot TV.
There you go. There you go.
That's hardcore. Nice.
Awesome.
Nice job.
There you
Sublimated.
go.
You can put the tip in the handle.
Tip in the handle. Very nice. No sparks. All right, well that's cool.
Once again,
Tastes
it was
good.
the handle. It wasn't the technology. It was
This is
really
the sublimator. Enrico's been hanging out with us and giving us lots of tokes out of the sublimator for the past couple weeks and
you
getting
wanna
everybody high
get it
here.
over here?
And where do people find out more about it? Sublimator.com.
Hold the handle, Mark.
Hold the handle. Oh, there you go. There you go. See? We're demonstrating the dangers of the sublimator as we go.
Whatever.
Or is the dangers of being Mark
I'm
Klokeid?
trying. I just want to use it. Back off.
It's got, all right.
Mark has two.
So, I guess that's the end of the show, really. I don't know if there's anything else to talk about. We talked about the events, went over everything that I wanted to. I don't know. Does Marius want to have a toke, a bong rip, or anything on the air? Marius, you want to come say something?
Excuse me. That was awesome.
Come hit the sublimator.
You want to hit it again?
What about Marius? Give Marius a toke out of the sublimator.
Marius?
There you go.
Okay, so the sublimator is taking vapor and through a process,
That's right.
a gasification process, it's breaking down the particles.
It's basically just vaporizing it. You
get
put
to
you
fuck.
put the in the top of this thing. We were using extracts, so there's little holes around the top of this for extracts. In each one of these little holes, it's machined so that it comes down in a cone-like shape to a very fine point. They all go into the middle in this very sort of compressed, fine stream. So when you smoke through it, it's pushing it down through a very small hole. Now, when it goes down into the second bowl here, that same process is happening a second time. It's in a cone shape, goes down and gets compressed a second time, and for some reason that combo, it just seems to extract everything out of the pot possible, and you get a massive toke.
Ready?
Yeah. Good stuff. And everybody that hits out of it agrees
You're in
that
front of the camera.
it gets them really high. So if we can say anything for it, is that it gets you pretty high.
And that it's easily ready for the next toker. So it's like you can get 5 people ripped
and
in
it
a
does
matter of a
plug
minute.
in, so I mean, it's not for kids. Jeez, like, you know, the thing isn't.
Yeah, because I'm getting high 13-year-olds all the time.
It's for big
kidding
kids.
me?
It's for big kids.
Did you
Are
mention
responsible.
Did you mention the atomizer?
I didn't mention that because I don't really understand that process.
Because
and I
he's
don't
too
know if
busy
it's
toking. Put the thing in.
Sound, but
Here you go, buddy.
Yeah, here.
Your weapon,
All right,
sir.
Marius can try explain
Ready
that, but I don't know
and
what it's like.
action.
The atomizer is mostly metal, in which and very, very, very tiny holes, maybe about 1/8 of the mass of the metal. So the vapor is heated and compressed at the same time as that it's sucked through the vacuum process, and that seems to make it expand exponentially and make the particles finer, which makes it a lot easier to imbibe. And boy, does it ever seem to work! And everybody agrees it gets you so high.
It's efficient too.
There we go.
So I think it beats out a torch because you can just keep toke after toke after toke, and then also it's healthier. And
Not only that, you can collect the resin and smoke that after as
yeah.
well.
Yeah. Okay, you hold this.
This would be safer to do this like this.
So, like after use, it collects resin on the bottom, and you can reuse that resin
And because it's a very
as a
clean
dabs.
resin that comes out of it. I don't know why it's so clean, but
Well, because nothing's been used to make it a solvent. It's just straight sap.
And also, it's been through the atomizer, so the particles are absolutely tiny, and because they go through these tiny holes and get heated, that's how they're broken up.
Yeah, yeah. It's basically smaller than vapor. It's turning it into a gas. That's the new technology. That's what all the kids in Vancouver are sublimated on.
there you go. And evidently at Vapor Central as well, because he's been out.
I got back from vacation and traveling the world, and that's all anyone would talk about. The first show when I came back, sublimated, sublimated. This thing's awesome.
Yeah, it's good. Well, it's definitely getting a lot of play on Pot TV there. Probably too much, but it's worth it. Because
I
it's a
have
good product,
no
so.
financial affiliation with them whatsoever.
And neither does
I want
anybody
them to
here.
come to the
And that's
Kush
the
Cup,
thing.
though.
Yeah,
I
we
wanna-
have no, at least that I know of, none of the hosts of any of our shows have anything to do with it financially. I
Not at all.
surely don't.
No.
So there you go. Anyways, awesome show. It's been a good one,
I
guys.
had to buy mine, actually.
You bought? Did you
I
get
bought
one?
one.
You got
Yeah,
one?
I bought
Oh, you
one.
bought one.
Yeah.
Nice. Fantastic.
I did.
I realized we just shot a video that you can watch later. During
Right.
our show of a different kind of thing that was going on, but you were there, kind of.
That's right.
We're all there.
Remo and TheWeedGuy have been shooting a video here the whole time that will be available on which account?
Urban Remo.
Urban Remo account. There you go. So it'll be like a behind the scenes, off to the side kind of thing, I guess, on that. I'm really high again. I'm glad you didn't bring any of that popcorn because.
I didn't have time. I grabbed him and
No, I'm glad you didn't.
brought him
'cause-
down. I
'cause
didn't go
at
up
least
to
we
the
kept things
dispensary.
together.
I didn't go up to iMedicate.
I'm still really fucking high right now.
But I brought
so-
him, and he brought, oh, and I brought the sublimator guy too.
Oh, you did?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Geez, what do you have, a bus out there or something?
No, it's a Corolla.
Kush.ca tour.
Yeah, the
You
Goose
need a
J tour
Kush.ca
bus. Looking awesome, man.
All right. Well, thanks to everybody who was on the show today. Who was on the show? We had the Weed Guy and Remo. We had
You were.
David Malmo Levine.
Thank
we
you
had
to
Marco
Jeremiah for
Renda
having us on.
and TY. Yeah, it was the good stuff. And Enrico, of course. And the suit was back there. And Marius.
It's been a blast. I'm really hungry now.
All right.
Thanks for the awesome sunny day.
It was a good one. Thanks, Lounge. Thanks to everybody here at BCMP 307 West Hastings. Love you guys.
Thanks to
We'll
the
be
cat
back
in the
again
box.
next Friday.
Cat in the box.
And thanks to, of course, all the chatters and all the people viewing on Pod TV at home. Love you guys the most. And we'll see you next Friday.
And we're going to roll a fat joint.
There
so
you
think
go.
about us doing that. Two fat joints.
2 fat joints, at least. Peace. Marius, take us out of here.
Happy weekend. Okay.
Gone or what?